Welcome to this week's video where I discuss what I believe is important for individual investors to take notice of and understand before they make their investment decisions over the next 5 to 10 business days. Recently, we heard some really good news on the fight against COVID-19. How will this affect the markets going forward? We also heard from the Federal Reserve. Mr. Jerome Powell spoke about what he is going to do, what the Fed is going to do moving forward. Again, how is this going to affect individual investors and what they believe they should be doing with their investments? And lastly, EV, electric vehicles. Is this something that individual investors should take notice of and perhaps make an investment in? I'll give you my thoughts coming right up. This past week, we heard some great news out of Pfizer. They've developed a pill to fight COVID-19. Now, Merck has also come up with the same or a similar pill to fight COVID-19, however, not as effective. We've heard from Pfizer that it is 90% effective in keeping individuals out of hospital. I think this is a really big game changer in the fight against COVID-19. We've actually heard from a number of individuals down in the US that they believe that the war against COVID could be ending sometime in the new year. I think it's a green light for individuals to get bullish on the market if they haven't already been bullish. And for those that have been bullish, I think this is a further green light to continue to invest. Federal Reserve had an announcement this past week, and they've indicated that they will begin tapering, rolling back some of the spending that they have been making over the past year and a half, starting as early as this month. They believe over the coming months that they will take down the spending all the way down to zero. The Fed believes that this extra spending or the money they've been pumping into the economy is no longer necessary, as we are no longer in emergency times. Looking ahead, usually when you start to see this tapering, you begin to think about, will interest rates start to rise? Considering that we're hearing some great news on the battle against COVID, will interest rates rise in the near future? It is my opinion that we could see interest rates rise as soon as mid next year. However, I believe the stock market can continue to do well even in the face of rising interest rates. If we were to see interest rates rise as well as growth rise in our economy here in Canada and in the United States, the stock market, in my opinion, will do just fine. It is a fallacy that when you have higher interest rates, you cannot have a strong stock market. I believe they both can move higher, significantly higher over the coming years, and everybody will do just fine. So if you're an investor that's waiting or nervous about higher interest rates, I don't believe you have to fear higher interest rates. And in fact, interest rates can actually benefit some portions of the economy as well as some sectors of the market. So going forward, higher interest rates does not mean a worsening stock market. Both of them can move in tandem and both can move higher together. Recently, I've been getting a lot of questions around EV or electric vehicles. Is this something that individual investors should be considering for their diversified portfolios? To me, electric vehicles is a difficult one. We've seen the rise of Tesla. We've seen the rise of Elon Musk, now the richest man in the world, Tesla becoming another $1 trillion company. But there are many other electric vehicle companies as well. Should individual investors look to these names? A lot of these names are actually, in my opinion, very, very expensive right now. So perhaps looking to electric vehicles, you may want to take a look at some of the traditional car makers or the car makers we've known over many years, such as GM, Ford. These are names that I think can benefit from the EV cycle or the move or push towards electric vehicles. In fact, Ford, as an example, has made a tremendous push in this area. And in my opinion, Ford is one of the car makers that I believe has a lot more room to run higher. GM has already moved significantly higher, but I still believe that these two names can do it quite well as they convert their cars into electric vehicles. So when you're looking at making an investment in this sector, you may not have to look for the new electric vehicle companies that are coming onto the market. Some of them may not have as much in the way of earnings. Some of them not be selling as many cars as the GMs and the Fords of the world. So take a look at those names once again. I think you can circle back to these names, even though for a long period of time, many investors have left the GMs and Fords. You can take a look at these names once again, as I believe they represent good value going forward.